grab my notes here. All right, a good meeting. A lot of good things to talk about tonight. We'll get to that in a second, though. First, I want to kind of talk about what we started off the meeting here tonight. Obviously, with the referendum passing, it was a great win for the school district and the community, but school district not quite out of the woods yet. Still have this lawsuit that is kind of next up.
Well, I think that I shared with the board and the citizens that were here this evening that this referendum was a great thing for our community and a great thing for our kids. And it's an important piece of the puzzle as the Taylorville School District moves forward in terms of providing a quality education for our students. But there is a factor that still looms out there in the woods, so to say, and that's being our partner, the state of Illinois. We still are dependent on receiving money from the state of Illinois. And I basically wanted to inform the board this evening that the state, in its situation that we have not received a categorical payment for fiscal year 17. That's significant in terms of how we're going to finish this year budget-wise. And I did tell them that there is a chance, a pretty good chance, that we'll get one additional payment before the end of the year, but that still leaves us with quite a bit of money on the table that we're not going to get within this budget year. And of course, with that situation, then that adds to the deficit.
And with this lawsuit, how is that going to go and potentially help the school district?
Well, we talked a little bit about that. It's one more pressure point for school districts within the state of Illinois to try to get the legislature to, one, get a budget, two, take a look at school funding reform and providing it in a fair and equitable manner. We still feel very confident with our lawsuit in the fact that it's dealing with the Illinois learning standards, and the legislature has a constitutional responsibility to fund Illinois learning standards in a fair and equitable manner.
And another one of those pressure points that you had talked about was the fact that, with the referendum passing, it shows lawmakers in Springfield that Taylorville as a community has stepped up. They've done their part, and now you can put a little bit more pressure on the state.
Well, I think that's always been a thing that we've talked about throughout the state of Illinois. As the state does not meet its obligations to local school districts have no choice but to turn to their local constituents. We're very fortunate that our Citizens for Education Committee and our patrons of our educational communities from which the students come to Taylorville School District voted unanimously in support of this referendum, which will provide much needed revenue from the local side to help maintain the programs that we have.
Now let's move on to some more pleasant discussion. Just recently, with the referendum passing, we were able to reinstate pretty much everything that had, went to look to be cut. And let's kind of just start off with the personnel that have come back. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, basically, we did find out that the state of Illinois pulled the competitive grant for the preschool program. We were anxiously awaiting the RFP for that grant, but just kept getting delayed and delayed. And finally, the State Board of Education pulled that off and said, well, if you had a preschool grant the previous year, you'll get a preschool grant next year, which was a great thing for our preschool students in Taylorville, that they will have an educational opportunity next year. By doing that, then that alleviated a lot of pressure in terms of being able to call back staff that would have otherwise had to be reduced in order for the preschool teachers to basically take over in the elementary classrooms. So we basically, and fortunately, we've recalled every staff member that was RIF'd at the February 13th board meeting.
And that was a significant part of those cuts. Another part of those cuts were all the programs that were slated to be cut. but thankfully able to keep those on board now.
Well, the Board of Education in its February 13th and even at its March board meeting had indicated that if the referendum were to pass, then they would look at reinstating programs and then finding measures in which the district could bridge the gap to receive the additional funds that the referendum will be generating. And I think that's a proud moment that we really made those recommendations. It was the right thing to do tonight, the right thing to do for students. And I think at the end of the day, it's part of what we set out to say we would do, is be able to maintain the programs that we currently have.
One of the programs that was discussed tonight was the joint agreement with the Capital Career Center. Can you talk about some of the educational opportunities that that's going to allow Taylorville students to have?
Well, the Career Area Capital Center provides students with a variety of career opportunities. We'll be having students taking graphic arts, EMS, fire safety training, auto body courses for culinary arts, Cisco networking courses, cosmetology courses, early childhood classes, the CNA program, building trades program. It provides just a variety of curriculum out there for our students to be able to take. We'll be having 44 students attend the CACC next year, which is up from 21. But we're really about providing opportunities for high school students to be able to go to the center to experience different trades, experience different opportunities that we can't provide at Taylorville High School.
A couple more things. Can we get a quick update on what's going on with South School?
South School, we hope to close on the property by the end of the week.
All right, and then the final one, going to have a different look for the school board for first time in a little while. Can you talk about some of the retiring board members and some of the board members that are going to be coming on?
Well, this evening we recognized Mr. Rick Bryan, who had served a 4-year term with the Taylorville School District and provided a lot of insight to the Taylorville School District. He's kind of like our school resource officer on duty for us. He's worked extensively with school safety, providing trainings and building strategies with our administration. Mr. Seth McMillan served 2 terms on the Taylorville School District. Very much appreciated his background coming from Taylorville High School, going to college, and then coming back and starting a business. He's been a real advocate of our vocational programs as well as our academic programs in really trying to meet those kids' needs into the future. And then, of course, there's Mrs. Fraley, who is served on the school board for 12 years. Taught for 41 years within the Taylorville School District. So she's kind of an educational icon or an institution, right, for the Taylorville School District. We're so appreciative of what Katie has given to the Taylorville school system as an educator as well as a school board member, and then her commitment to the school district on always wanting the best for Taylorville students, and will continue to be a big supporter of the Taylorville School District.
Dr. Fuerstenau, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.